Okay guys, here I am again with my 12-week mesocycle, and this week I've added in the general dynamic warm-up, um, specific dynamic warm-up, and conditioning and static stretching for each week. And then most weeks I rotate between plyo work, agility work, speed work, and change of direction work. This is for a women's lacrosse athlete, so rotating between those four areas is something that's important for developing all the different aspects of the game that a women's lacrosse athlete would need. And I tried to create the general dynamic warm-up so that it would be different each day, just to keep it fresh, but nothing unique or challenging here. And then the specific dynamic warm-up, again, I tried to change it up every day, but again, nothing challenging. All functional training, functional warm-up to warm up the legs and upper body in a way that would be advantageous for a women's lacrosse player. And then you can see that the static stretching is pretty much the same throughout. Changing up the exercises, but basically the same format for each one of those. And because weeks 1, 2, and 3 are essentially the same muscle endurance, I kept Monday's warm up and plyo work were all the same throughout those. And I'm going to skip ahead actually to week 7, because in week 7 I go back to muscle endurance, and I use the same workouts, or the same, warm ups and plyo work and conditioning and so on. But if you look, I upped either the amount of time or the amount of reps, or lowered the rest short just a little bit, just to create a little bit of adaptations there and to challenge the athletes a little bit. Weeks 4 and 5 were basic strength, so while keeping the warm-up similar and the specific dynamic warm-up similar, what was different in those weeks were the conditioning was increased quite a bit, up to 30 minutes with a long, slow distance, and then the cross training was also upped there. So for weeks 4 and 5, big changes happened in the conditioning aspect. So week 6 was active rest, so you can see that everything is brought down in intensity or volume, depending on whatever the specific change was that I made. But I did build in specific skill work of passing and catching, where the athletes would be standing and passing and catching back and forth with one. And then in weeks 10 and 11, we get into strength and power. And so for the strength and power, I lengthened the general dynamic warm-up and lengthened the specific dynamic warm-up because I wanted to make sure that the athletes were properly warmed up before they started their exercises. And then I kept basically the conditioning as a cross training, and I removed the change of direction, plyo work, and speed work, because that was actually mixed in on the even days of this week, and the odd days were the strength power days.